Hello. This is episode 8 of my series of playing I'm a Secret Roottrees, and I'm very eager to get back in because I have had dinner, and during dinner, all I could think about was this game. And I've come up with some ideas that I want to toss your way before we dive in. Well, actually, we are going to dive in, and then I will toss them your way. So ignore what I just said. So the first thing that came to fucking mind, and it has to do with what I'm assuming here. I think I'm wrong about this entirely, and Robin Martin is a dead end. Why? Because of what I said last time about the procedure that she had, wherever that was. I revisited it early in the last one. I guess I did a lot of revisiting, so it's somewhere in here. Where are you? Robin Martin. Okay. She has no husband, and there was a widely circulated rumor that somewhere in the mid-70s, she had a medical procedure to ensure she would never have children. That does not suit the timeline here because of when it'd be likely that he met her. 1975 is right in the goddamn middle of the 70s. So she probably had the procedure before he even met her. And thereby, this isn't her at all. That's the first thing that came to mind. The second thing that came to mind. What if the way that we ended the last episode is we were looking at this curiosity, the introduction of sugar plum, which was not a thing that existed before this in 1982, and it is interestingly higher than the rest. I think there is a connection between the 5-piece flavors and his infidelities. And so I was thinking, okay, what could that mean for us? If we look at all of these and the timeline in which they start, we have caviar as the very first flavor in 1978. 1978 is when Guy Hudson originally took over. And he has his first child. The second is butterscotch, when he has his next child. And then there's also caviar. So he's basically introducing these new flavors, and even though they're commercial failures, they're actually, I think, bribes being sent to the families that he's having sex with, basically. Then strawberry, then zingua is introduced, butterscotch and caviar. So is this the same fucking thing that the original 5 pieces was? Are these indicators of his children? Are they named after them at all? Potentially. They don't seem to be, though. It doesn't seem like they're named after the children, because Strawberry, David is his first name, right? And he's not actually like the father. Well, I mean, he's the father of them, but he's not like a father that's actually present and cares for these children. So I don't think it actually has to do with their name, but I do think as each one is introduced, a new child is born, basically. And I'm wondering now if he's actually, this is the other thing that I thought about. If he's actually the father of either no, of Lucy Lang, because this is I remember getting confused by this. If we look at the where is it? This not Lang Xingyu, Lang Xiao. This is what is confusing, or maybe not here. It's the web search. So, well, no. Okay, so Linda Han, actually. This is what's confusing. So there's no mention of, excuse me, the surrogacy. When we had Mark, we never even considered giving him a traditional name. Meanwhile, my sister stayed in China and has thrived there. They moved to the United States, and her sister was in China when she gave birth to Mark. So this is not corroborating the story. So what I think has happened is they faked the surrogacy in order to protect hold on. In order to protect, where's her picture? Xinyu. So she actually gave birth to Lucy Lang, and Lucy Lang is the illegitimate child of Guy Hudson, because she was born in 1947, which would mean that she would be how old? 1947, so 323, like in her 30s when she has her child. So I think this is actually her. Her first name is Xinyu. Her last name is Lang. She had a child. She is a CEO. And she had a child who we've not yet found yet, but Lucy Lang is a lead that we can actually pursue. And she is, I'm thinking, the tech engineer. Lucy Lang flew out to the United States, and the name change drove her crazy because Lucy Lang is actually her daughter. So we need to actually pursue this a little bit more. So Lucy Lang could be any of these three teams. My guess is that this is her, the Corporate Synergistic Solutions Unlimited Lucy Lang. And I think we need to do Business Watch. Lucy Lang is listed in Business Watch. Each person has a small bio. But Lucy's bio section mentioned she grew up in a small Arkansas town. So this might not be her, actually. Now at the age of 32, it's 1999, right? So she would have been born in 1967, which doesn't work. So instead, maybe she's the robotics kid. Okay. So let me go back here. Talonclaw. Team Talonclaw, Mideastern University. Mideastern University is a notable private college that advertises itself as midway between Maine and Miami. Their mascot is the Spectres, though they are not known for their sports programs as much as their education. Their legal and language departments are their pride and joy, and though they have fairly extensive computer science and robotics programs, along with other prestigious schools that haven't quite reached the notoriety of Ivy League schools, some refer to it as Little Ivy. The college has embraced this, calling their newspaper the Herald, or Heterold, which is a combination of Hetera, the scientific name of ivy, and Herald. Their website boasts that they have a historical technology museum on campus, including still functioning computer from the 1960s that takes up a full room. They also have a printing press that they use to print one special year-end issue of the Heterold every year. So we're going to look up the Heterold, and I'm going to guess that this is going to be a periodical. Oh, yeah. The Heterold is the school newspaper for Mideastern University. It appears to be available in your periodical archive. After a bit of research, you've discovered its name is a combination of what we just read. I mean, we'll look up Little Ivy. I don't think this is going to, produce anything. So now we go to the periodicals. We go to the Heterold, and we look up Lucy Lang. And we're going to get her fucking picture. Yes! I'm so proud of myself. Dude, I was going crazy. Boom. I am so happy. This is a photo of Lucy Lang, a.k.a. Lang Min, with Talonclaw, the robot she worked on at Mideastern University. You found it in the school's newspaper. Bam. And she is a college student. Oh, okay. We're making progress. So, what if these are actually named after... They are, aren't they? The 5 pieces are named after the women, not the children. So let's look up this. And we start here. The first one was caviar. It's interesting. He didn't even name one after Joanne. I guess because that affair occurred before he got into his role. Oh, she died. So he didn't need to. So caviar. Christine. Oops. Then, Zigua and Strawberry. Zinyu, Sonia. And then lastly, Sugar Plum. Sugar Plum, named after Susan. Boom. Butterscotch, though. Butterscotch. That's a loose end. I did forget about Butterscotch. When was Butterscotch started? It was also started in 1982. Butterscotch, 50,000. Sugar Plum, 100,000. Butterscotch and Sugar Plum are both... Well, I mean, strawberry could be argued. They're like 2 distinct words, like straw and berry, sugar and plum, butter and scotch. Butter and scotch. Sugar and plum. S and B. That's James and Robert. That doesn't really work. What does that mean then? Butterscotch and Sugar Plum. Could that be her children's names? Nah, I mean, certainly not. Yeah. There's not a Scott either. And there's not like a plum or sugar. Butterscotch remains a one that we have not figured out, but we do have, I think, 3 at this point. So we're only missing 1 more. I really feel good about this. Oh, actually, her original, before she started calling herself Lucy, was Lynn. Well, she started calling herself Lucy, but her birth name was Lynn, according to this, right? Right, here we go. We didn't actually read this. The Herald has a story about their school's robotics team, Team Townclaw. It lists 3 student members and talks a bit about each of their history, including their interest in robotics. The only one that catches your attention is Lucy Lang. She grew up in China as Min Lang. You see, that's her actual name then. So Min. Boom. But came to the US specifically to attend university. She says she grew up around factory-scale machines that assembled products that would be shipped all over the world, and the moving parts and automation fascinated her. However, as she has progressed through her major, she's become obsessed with smaller, more powerful hydraulics, such as the mechanism that closes Townclaw's weapon. In addition to robotics, she loves linguistics. One of her hobbies since coming to the States has been collecting accents. In her spare time, she practices not only removing any trace of her native inflection, but also quickly switching between multiple different regional accents. She feels her personal best is the Southern Belle, but her favorite is Valley Girl due to its use in popular culture. Awesome. Okay. So we have figured out how this worked. The problem now is that we're back to not knowing what to do. I have thought a lot, and I feel like I'm really happy with this. I'm very happy with this, and the discovery that these seem to correlate with the affairs. And we can probably, like, let's make a little page, I guess. 5 pieces. 2. We have sugar plum. Let's do it in order that they were created. So hold on. It was caviar. Fucker. Caviar. Why can't I scroll around on this, man? Pisses me off. It was caviar. I swear I was able to before, or this pushed it over, but it doesn't now. Here, we got to start here. Caviar started in 1978, so let's do that. Let's actually write these names down with dates. So caviar, 1978. Butterscotch, I didn't notice it before. So butterscotch was 1979. Then we have strawberry and zigua. Or sigua, I don't know how to pronounce that, I apologize. So strawberry, which is 1980, earlier. Zigua, 1980, after. No new one introduced until 1982, when Sugar Plum gets introduced. (1982). So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So also, maybe we need to write down how much money each one has received thus far, because that might be helpful too. So caviar, I guess maybe it doesn't matter too much. Well, maybe it does, actually. So this has been 1,200 or 120,000, 240,000. I guess it's just how many years it's been, right? So we can just, it's always $10,000 a month until Sugar Plum. It's per child. That's why. It's 20,000 for Sugar Plum because of her 2 children that she has. So this is basically child support in his mind. Okay. Is there any other clue? Well, not her. She had 2 children. Does that account for it then? What was Christine's name? Because she could have been receiving, because if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and she's dead, so he didn't have to pay child support. One of the other ones went to her, is what I'm guessing. Probably because these are twins and were born the same time. And so he lumped them together, whereas these 2 have different birthdays. Like they're separated by 3 years, aren't they? What was the difference in their ages? I think we wrote it down. Or that would be under Guy, right? I swear we wrote down the difference in their names. Let's see if it's a cooking class. Mark was sued. Steve has 2 children named James and Robert. I guess we can just look in the evidence here, right? I think it was 3 years apart, right? Boop, boop, boop. Who is 3 years younger. So if we look at the timeline, first one, Caviar, started in 1978. Let's actually go here. Three years later would be 1981. So Strawberry. So Christine's first kid. Butterscotch is we don't know who Butterscotch is, really. Question mark. Strawberry is Sonia. He's 18 years old, so this checks out. Flavio's 18, we remember that. And he's a Libra. Libra is... When is Libra? I'm gonna look that. Can we look up Zodiac? Libra. I feel like, isn't Libra like the summer? Whatever. It doesn't matter. This is Zinew's child. And then Sugar Plum, I guess this is... We don't know who this is. Sugar Plum could be... Well, that's 4 years later. They're 3 years apart. We don't know who Butterscotch is. Maybe Christine never got another 10,000 because... Or this is... I'm thinking that this is Susan's 2 children. We don't know about this one. Why no second 10K? Caviar and Butterscotch. Strawberry. Watermelon, Butterscotch, Caviar. Strawberry, watermelon, butterscotch, caviar. Unless the Grandorf Dove donation was meant to act as... Also, I never noticed this until just now. As the lump sum. But something tells me that this is... still the right one. We just don't know who Butterscotch is. So it's possible that there's another woman? Like a third woman? Or if not a third, a 1, 2, 3, a 6th woman? And that's who this is. Her name starts with B. Barbara, Beatrice, Bess, Beth. And that's it. The rest are unlikely. So it's probably these. We already have eliminated these two. So Barbara and Beatrice. We should look out for those two. Barbara. Beatrice. I have everything here, right? Yeah. So I just need to solve one more. Need to just do one more. I'm so close. There's got to be a way that we can find out more information about the Clementines. And there's got to be a way that we can figure out more about Susan. I feel like these are our two big avenues because I'm 100% about this now. And we don't have anything about them. I'm wondering if the next 4, though, is going to be the smoking gun. You know, the DNA. And I feel like it makes the most sense to try and pursue this one. Because at least we have a little bit of information about her. And let's look. We still have notable events. This. And this we can discount. Is there a Beatrice in here? A B name. Beatrice Watts. Who the fuck is Beatrice Watts? When was she hired? Let's look at the very start. Secretaries. No. Secretaries. No. No Beatrice. Here. Beatrice Watts and Corian Schwartz were hired in 1978. The same time that he took over. I want to start looking her up. We might not find anything about her for right now. Which is fine. It could be that her last name isn't actually Beatrice Watts. Or her name is... Well, her name is probably Beatrice, but Beatrice Watts might be revealed at some point. It could even be somehow over here or some shit. Although that's probably not true if what I'm using is basing it off of him naming all of the candies off named after the women who are still alive. And so between Christine and Xinyu, he had an affair with another woman. Or at the same time, basically. Because she was hired at the same time as Corian Schwartz, right after Christine Garland was fired. So she probably is the replacement for her. And then I'm guessing that she's in here. I'm going to even go as far as to put her name. Seems very likely. Beatrice Watts was hired shortly after Christine, his first secretary, was fired/quit. If the trend of the candy naming convention is correct, this is the 6th woman, 3rd affair to be involved with Guy. Okay. That doesn't help us now. That doesn't help us in the immediate present. But it is something to really think about. So we're going to start with Susan Ford and start exploring her again. How did we start her? We started figuring out stuff about her through the $250,000 donation. And that was it was down here. It was a bit ago. Before we even started exploring. No, it was after we started exploring Brazil. There's got to be something that we can do with Billy Sims, man. There's got to be like a fucking San Diego publication that I can find. And it's got to be, there's got to be a way that I can figure that out. I just don't know how. We even looked up Carla Sims, like Miami Sunday. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. But let's not get distracted. We are doing the Grandorf School for the Deaf. Grandorf Dove. I want to start here. Butler County, but serves much of that part of Pennsylvania nearby Ohio. Grandorf and was the last name of the founder. Maybe we can find out who the founder was? Where did we put this? We put it in Guy. Or did we not even write this stuff down? We may not have even written this stuff down. I do think that she's an Anonymom, though. Oh, wait, no. We proved that an Anonymom is a dead end, right? Oops. I haven't monologued at all this game. It's because I'm so engaged right now. Like, the bit isn't as funny to me. All right, let's do a new page then. Susan. Susan had 2 children with Guy Hudson, acting as his interpreter for 3 years. When was the root tree everywhere? Interpreter. This is the one that I was looking for too. When did they hire her to be that one? Susan Ford was hired under a special category that existed for only 1 year. In the late 1970s, starting in 1979, coinciding with the creation of the Roottrees Everywhere campaign. Then in 1980, she was moved to office staff. Beatrice Watts, the alleged secretary of Guy at the time, was also fired the same year. Susan, however, was not listed as a secretary. Her new job, now something else. As the department gets shut down, in 1981, Susan either blackmails or emotionally or insists Guy support a school that was important to her as her future husband. We'll fill this in a second. Was deaf. And attended this school. In 1982, Susan is either fired or quits. Likely around the same time as Guy Hudson's death. All right, so we've got a little bit of a timeline. Now, let's go back to Grandorf Dove. Grandorf Dove. The Grandorf School for the Deaf received $250,000 donation from the Roottrees Candy Company. It renamed in 1990. The founder had issues with government translators, leading to an odd transcription issue. What does that mean? Probably that they just transcribe DOV. Maybe we should just look up Grandorf. Maybe we can find something about this guy in Business Watch, perhaps? No, that's okay. All right. Okay. In 1990, it was renamed to better represent the school's purpose and to correct the embarrassing lack of effort and awareness demonstrated by the government officials in those early days. Sure. The staff is listed on the website. Miss Ford is fluent in 5 languages, including ASL. She's been working at the school for over 15 years. 15 years. Over 15 years, but if we calculate that out, it's 1999. So she started working there in 1984, 2 years after Guy died. In 1984, Susan began working at the school as a teacher. She also was responsible for securing funding for the Hudson Wing. Okay. Now we're going to look up the Hudson Wing again. The Hudson Wing was first built in 1982. This was in 1981. Hold on, I need to edit this to reflect that. That was the year previous, after Christmas. So right around, well, actually, we don't know that. It's not necessarily in exact chronological order. Is it in alphanumeric order? 5? No, it's not. I don't know. I don't necessarily know what this is then. What order this is in. Edit. in 1982 or 81. So let's move this here. Okay. Done. Let's go back. They got their name after the president of the Roottrees company generously, Guy Hudson, of course, towards the construction of the building. There's also a very vague history section that you can somewhat fill in with details from information you've seen about the school. Mentions that the donated at the insistence of an employee of Roottrees at the time to surprise her future husband, who was deaf. She became the first teacher at the new campus. So over 15 years. This is reasonable then. In 1982, Susan began working at the school. So actually, let's just append this to this date here. After the previously documented donation, the Hudson wing opens at the Grandorf Dove. Susan began working. Susan was the first teacher at this new campus. Okay. Then what? What can we do at this point? I wish I could see the exact history that I started searching. I don't think anything's going to come of this. Yeah, no. I wonder if we can get like a yearbook. Well, no, I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. Maybe we should look up this. No. Nope. I don't know if finding the founder really is going to matter. Suzanne Ford. Susan, not Suzanne. Okay. Business Watch. Butler County Times. There was some way that we found information about her through the periodicals, I think. And it may have been that we looked up Grandorf Dove in Business Watch. Butler County Times. Grandorf Dove was a school for deaf near Butler. It was regularly listed in articles with other local schools. The Butler County Times archives include snow cancellations. To the last mention in 1990. Grandorf Dove was the center of a crime article from 1982. To face the school outside of the Hudson wing. Multiple broken windows. A few weeks later, Thomas Hughes. So, Thomas Hughes. The destruction came weeks after he married the school's newest teacher, Mrs. Hughes. She was not a teacher when he went. He graduated a few years earlier. According to the reporter's investigation into police reports, trials, and restraining orders, Mr. Hughes was convinced he was not the father of Mr. Hughes' current pregnancy, or Mrs. Hughes' current pregnancy. He was released on bail. The school has agreed not to press criminal charges. And they've avoided all further appearances in this publication. Nothing in these. We kind of just got to click down the list. See if there's anything that we can find out about this guy. So then Susan Hughes. We never found out anything about that, did we? Only that she was pregnant. Maybe Susan Hughes will show up then? I don't know if we searched this. No. Principal? I guess her last name's Ford now. Principal Ford. I think we've already done Susan Ford. That was her name. Yeah, but we don't know anything about her children. We don't have pictures of them at all. How the fuck do we find out about them? Maybe we can look up Susie Ford. That didn't work. This feels like it's a bit of a dead end then. Fuck. This does paint a pretty thorough picture of what Susan did. But I guess we really can't pursue it anymore. There's got to be something that we can learn about Miracle and the fact that his children are no longer part of his tour. There's no more information inside of this, like in terms of clues. But maybe we can do some searching into like the people in his family. All right. I've exhausted what I can think of to search for Susan Ford. So we're going to move back over here to Miracle Roottree. We still have something in here. But I just don't know. I don't think it's about Robin anymore. I think Robin is no longer in my consideration. I feel like maybe we need to find out more about Patricia. Or there's something in big, shiny, embossed letters. Is there any way that I can look up just the author? No, they really want me to do both. Portrait of a Changed Man for Gospel. Biography of Van Gogh. She appeared in this magazine. But we did find it. We could try looking this up again. I know I'm back into something else entirely. Woke up after being saved from drowning in his backyard pool. And then the other one was about going to Thailand. Remember that? Foreign Gospel. Let's just read it again. Man from the Catholic Church who was claims told by God to travel to Thailand. Did we ever look these up just... as they are? No. Okay, so neither of these mattered. Have we ever looked up just Guy Hudson? Yeah, we did. Maybe we should start looking up, like, fucking everybody. And just kind of go down the list, see who we could look up. Like, we could look up Angelica, his mother. Well, not his mother. No, yeah, his mother. We could look up Bonnie. See if his kids have any connection. But no, let's see what we can do over here first. Well, oh, no. What was I doing? I was looking at this, and I was just trying to see if... what I could possibly get from this. It's not the cover. Big Sass Sea Bass. Hold on. Okay, good. I just had to look this up first. Big Sass Sea Bass is a talking fish that sits on a fake mount on your wall. When you press the button and speak into it, it mimics your voice and insults you. Many people consider it a ripoff of more popular wall-mounted communication fish-based decoration. The packaging makes it clear that this one does not sing. Instead, what the advertisements say set Big Sass Sea Bass apart from its competitors is a sardonic and sarcastic wit that will leave you reeling with laughter. It's oceans of fun for the whole family. You'll be hooked on this big sassy bass. The words reeling, oceans, and hooked are conveniently bolded to ensure you recognize how clever the copywriter was. Recently appeared on the cover of Picotea magazine. In the same issue that a Roottrees-related article appeared, that issue was removed from stores after the Roottrees sued the magazine. The issue has become a collector's item and ripe for conspiracy theories about what the Roottrees were trying to keep from people. BSSB. There could be anything. All right, sorry. Because I looked up Basselbub before and I didn't get anything. But obviously that's not the information that we were gathering. He invited me to join them when dealing with Roottree Brazil. Okay. Australia, France, China. We all searched. Could it be that Caroline was her contact? Because Caroline went with him to France. It must be something about Patricia. We might be able to find something about her. Well, there's definitely some information in here that we have not yet connected to another important thing. And then obviously we still haven't fucking... There's a piece of information in here that we have not collected. I really do think that this is maybe where I need to focus somehow. We searched Elias. We've searched Carl Roottrees. We've searched Sam Madsen. We've searched the Roottrees Company. We've searched Clark. We searched the Clancid Trust. We've found the legal group. We've done 5Ps. We've done Felix Fellows. Roottreemania. The DNA test. Anonymom Jane Doe Roottrees. Oh, what if this is Beatrice? What if Beatrice is Jane Doe Roottrees? Or Anonymom and Jane Doe Roottrees is the daughter. She just isn't related though, which is weird. And then it says that she's not going to appear on... She's not going to appear on the tree, which is odd. So, I know I searched Roottreemania. Maybe I just didn't search Miracle? And we searched this, I remember. Because it's just the repeat. We don't get anything from this. Maybe that's what I need to do, is I have not looked up Miracle Roottrees in other periodicals. This is going to be the thing that we found. Yeah, we have that. I feel like that was a hint. Noticeably absent are any mentions about Miracle's news appearances. And this we've looked up. It's the same thing as before. Maybe we can look up 3 generations of miracles in the library? I mean, that doesn't sound likely. But... that was a possibility, I suppose. Maybe we do look at the older one. Something I don't think this matters, right? Like, are we... I need to read this again. We aren't necessarily using old information, right? All evidence from before is still available, and for your convenience, any searches that do not lead to new information still function as they did during your first investigation. Okay, I feel like maybe I can take the hint from this then, that I don't need to worry about things that are from like an archived website. But we're still missing something here. Let's start from the top. Let's look at what I've done here. We have looked in the library, but we have not looked in the periodicals. Fuck, man. Nothing. Okay. The root tree rift then. Let's look at what we've done. We've seen Business Watch and just a normal search. It was reported on many news channels, and a third, much shorter press release came the next day. Okay, and then if we look at our history again, we saw Business Watch, and that's the only one that we've seen information about. We're going to read this again. Source inside. We read about this. Seemed like he was unwilling. And then that happened. Let's keep going down. Nothing under there. Damn it. I really had hoped that news time would give me something. Is there any way that I can get these press releases? The second release was emailed to business newspapers. Right. Well, there's nothing else that I can really do directly from this. So the root tree rift does not appear to be the thing that I'm looking for here. This new president doesn't include Root, which has its own leadership, which I think we've determined is unrelated to this. Uh-huh. Clark was the permanent one. His mother was Lauren Roottrees, who we've looked up. He's remained under the spotlight. Okay. I mean, we could look up his previous wives, which I thought we already did. But we could look up the others, I guess. Ugh. But it doesn't appear that he is like the direct thing that I was supposed to look up. 5Ps. What have we looked up for 5Ps? It could very well be that 5Ps is the one, because we only looked him up. Did I... Hold on. I could have sworn that I did this. Yeah. Oh, it's counting it as Felix Fellows. So... Yeah. Okay. Maybe I could learn something else. Not that I need to, really. already seen this one. Oh. Okay. Since Felix Fellows, aka 5Ps, was confirmed to be a Roottree, there's been a myriad of articles in his hometown's newspaper that mention him. Nothing appears to be new information. It all rehashes the News Time article and his web search results. The newspaper's music critic did review his latest album. They gave it a 3 out of 5. Thankfully, that was not the evidence. 5Ps is popular and attractive enough that even though his music is not targeted towards teen girls, they seem to be paying attention anyways. Well, he hasn't done any interviews with the magazine. They've listed him among the hunky hotties for the past few months with small bios that tell you the various facts about him. Includes his real name, David, his birthday, February 9th, 1977, his star sign, Aquarius, and where he grew up, foster care in Portland. Letter to the editor also claims that it's not possible that he was born in 1977, as he claimed on a song 17 magazine that he turned 17 in 1992. It's not possible that he was born in 1977. Now that is interesting. Okay. But we've already locked him in. So I don't know what that means. But we should keep this in mind, I guess. I don't want this in Susan's. I want this in 5Ps. Let's just take that. Okay. Weird. I guess we want to look up a couple of these things. Hunky hotties. Damn, nothing relevant? I really hope that was going to be a periodical. 17 magazine. 17 Magazine, sometimes referred to as 17 Magazine, is the title of an unreleased and controversial song by Dirty Davy. There's mentions of it on a few sites, claiming that it was on the first release of his first mixtape, but was removed. There's no audio or visual evidence of it existing, but there are independent accounts from people who have claimed to have heard it, and they do generally line up. According to the recollection, it was about many different loosely connected occurrences of the number 17, mostly violent. The intro states that it was written on Davy's 17th birthday and involved a fictional but glorified series of murders at a fashion show for a teenage magazine with a similar name to the song title. Okay. The person doing the violence was apparently trying to beat Dahmer's high score. Jeffrey Dahmer had pleaded guilty to killing 16 people in 1992. Due to major acts of gun violence in schools earlier this year and the subsequent backlash against violent music and video games, it is generally considered in very poor taste to bring it up. Most of the people that enjoy mentioning it online are either trolls trying to shock people or come from the morbidly curious corners of the internet. So, for a teenage magazine with a similar name to the song title, 17 Magazine, 16 Magazine, 18 Magazine, 15 Magazine. Fuck. Teen Blast. Maybe that's what it was. Jeffrey Dahmer. Surely this will yield results. This didn't help me. Fashion show for a teenage magazine with a similar name to the song title. Maybe it needs to be 17 or 18 magazines, 16 magazines, 15 magazines, 14, 13, 12, right, well. Frick. That also was not it. What about Roottreemania then? I've only Googled or spider searched the words Roottreemania. Daytime, Clark Rafferty, Lauren's Diaries, unauthorized biographies. Right. Well, I think we looked up I'm a secret Roottrie. Yeah. 5-piece saga. But I guess Roottreemania we have not looked up in our periodicals. So let's do it here. I want it to be one word. Even though the Google or the spider search was 2. I'm paranoid. We're not gonna find fucking anything in any of these. News time, please. Come on. Let's try it as 2 separate words, just because I'm paranoid. I'm not missing anything from this, damn it. All right. This is funny, though. Well, I don't know what else there is. It's telling me that I've got one more thing here, man. But I'm failing to do it. It's gotta be Anonymom then, right? We got something from News Time and here. And then Jane Doe Roottree. Resulted in nothing because I do this and it goes to Anonymom. And we still have this, so. This is almost certainly Beatrice. It all lines up. Being in the late 70s. She would have been immediately after Christine was removed. But for whatever reason, she was not allowed to come forward with it. See, this is making me suspicious. Roottree by the company's lawyers, who are the ones verifying your work. Anonymom's affair does not appear on your updated list. What about secret Roottrees? I don't think we're going to find anything about her. Yeah, we already saw this. Ugh, fuck. All right. Secret Roottrees. It would be nice if the periodicals that only had like a limited quantity of relevant data were no longer listed as options. Just from a convenience standpoint. Like, obviously, it makes sense that the fucking Chef magazine isn't going to have anything to do with this, but still. I cannot find out anything about this woman's 2 children. I don't even know where to start with this. I feel like I have to start investigating Miracle's family, even though I'm pretty sure I searched all of them. But now that I have more periodicals, maybe I can do something. I also don't think I looked up his wife. Alternatively, we could start looking up Patricia Jones. We could look up his sister. We could look up his family. We could look up his mother. We could look up his father. Hell, we could even look up his grandmother. But that will have to wait until the next episode. I at least feel confident about this whole train of thought. And the timeline that we've established with Susan feels nice. I think we've solved everything here. I think the 5 pieces thing makes sense. Now we're kind of digging into this Beatrice Waltz scenario where she's probably around the same time as Christine. And it's possible that this is her. She's in the top secret folder. I think we've figured out what these payments were for. The problem is I can't get another person identified, and I feel like that's going to be essential for me moving forward. I just need one more person. But I don't even have a picture. You know? The only pictures that I have are all assigned. So I can't even like start, truly. Okay. Oh. There's no longer anything in here because we figured out Beth. The Lisp. All right. That's it for now. Thank you so very much for watching. I had a lot of fun playing. I feel like I just gotta think. I gotta keep thinking, man. And something will occur to me. Something like, if Beatrice Watts is relevant, who else on here is, you know? Maybe we need to just scour the bigger family tree and see what we can figure out. Start searching a little bit more into Guy's family, into Miracle's family, because I think through knowledge about their families, we might learn a little bit more about Elias. As for more info for here, I don't know where to fucking start. There is so little to go off of, I feel, or I'm not seeing it. It could be that... Well, no. Okay, it can't be. It can't be anybody who's already on the tree, because that's this. They were on the original tree. So the reason why I looked up here is like, well, this guy had an adoption. Maybe, you know, Edward Clancy is actually the illegitimate child, but no. He's already on the tree, so that can't be him. But it was somebody else who had an adoption, and I don't entirely understand what this fucking means. I don't know how to interpret this yet. All right, I'm just rambling. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.